The Bell Witch of Tennessee. The year was 1817, and the Bell family of Adams, Tennessee, lived a seemingly ordinary life in their quaint farmhouse. John Bell, Sr., a respected farmer, his wife Lucy, and their children, including Betsy and John Bell, Jr., were well known in the community. Little did they know that their lives were about to be forever changed by a series of inexplicable events. Adams, Tennessee, nestled in the rolling hills and dense forests of the early 19th century American frontier, was a place where stories of the supernatural were often whispered around the hearth. But for the Bells, what began as subtle oddities soon escalated into something far more sinister. It started innocuously enough, strange, unexplained noises echoing through the house at odd hours of the night. Whispers in the darkness, footsteps when no one was walking, and eerie knocking sounds on the walls. The family attributed these noises to the creaking of an old house or the settling of the timbers. But as the days turned into weeks and then months, the disturbances grew more unnerving. Animals on the Bell farm began behaving strangely. Horses would suddenly bolt, spooked by unseen forces, and cattle would become agitated without apparent cause. The Bell children began to hear their names whispered when no one was around, and their beds would shake as they tried to sleep. These unsettling occurrences weighed heavily on the family, planting the seeds of fear and uncertainty in their hearts. One fateful day, John Jr. returned from the fields with a chilling tale. He had encountered a bizarre, unknown creature lurking in the woods. The entity, described as a dog with the head of a rabbit, seemed to vanish into thin air as he approached. It was an encounter that sent shivers down his spine and left the family bewildered. But it was the nightmarish events to come that would truly shake the Bell family to its core. One evening, as the family gathered around the hearth, a voice, soft and gentle at first, began to speak. It seemed to emanate from thin air, addressing John Sr. directly. The voice claimed to be a spirit, a restless entity that had chosen the Bell homestead. As the voice grew stronger and more assertive, it revealed itself. The entity, later called the Bell Witch, is a malevolent spirit with a sinister agenda. The family listened in horror as the entity recounted tales of the afterlife, predicting dire events to come. It spoke of tormenting the Bells, and as the nights wore on, it would make good on its ominous promises. As the days turned into weeks and the weeks into months, the Bell family found themselves increasingly ensnared by the malevolent grip of the Bell Witch. The entity, which had identified itself with an eerie sense of certainty, continued to torment the family with relentless and increasingly disturbing encounters. Betsy Bell, the young daughter of John Bell Sr., bore the brunt of the Bell Witch's attentions. The entity seemed to take particular interest in her, and it would as if an invisible hand were intent on causing her harm. Her family watched in helpless horror as she struggled, unable to free herself from the tormentor that only she could perceive. The Bell Witch's presence became a pervasive force in the Bell household. It would manifest with chilling vocalizations, often speaking in voices that imitated family members or even mimicking animals. The entity's ability to mimic sounds and voices was uncanny and added to the family's sense of dread. It demonstrated knowledge of private family matters, further unsettling the Bells, as it seemed to possess an intimate familiarity with their lives. Neighbors and visitors who came to the Bell farm began to witness the inexplicable phenomena firsthand. The Bell Witch would engage in conversations, answer questions, and engage in spirited debates, all while remaining unseen. Some accounts also disclosed General Andrew Jackson, who would later become the President of the United States, had been intrigued by the stories of the Bell Witch. He and his companions allegedly ventured to the Bell farm to investigate. It was disclosed that they, too, experienced the eerie phenomena as the Bell Witch spoke to them, displaying a knowledge of military tactics and secret battle plans that left Jackson both astonished and unnerved. The haunting continued to escalate in intensity and frequency. The Bell Witch's acts of aggression became more severe, and the family's pleas for help from local authorities and clergy went unanswered. Their first attempts to seek aid were met with skepticism and disbelief. Many people found it difficult to accept the incredible stories of the Bell family and the seemingly malevolent entity known as the Bell Witch. Local clergy members attempted exorcisms and blessings, but these efforts seemed to provoke the Bell Witch further, resulting in even more violent outbursts. Theories about the origin and motivation of the Bell Witch began to circulate. Some believed it to be the restless spirit of a deceased person, while others suggested it was a malevolent supernatural entity that had taken an interest in the Bell family for reasons unknown. Speculations ranged from unresolved family disputes to curses and vendettas. Despite the hardships endured by the Bell family, they remained steadfast on their property, unwilling to abandon their home to the relentless tormentor. However, as the years passed, the relentless haunting took its toll. John Sr., the family patriarch, grew increasingly ill, and his condition deteriorated rapidly. In December 1820, John Sr. succumbed to his ailments under mysterious circumstances. Many attributed his death to the Bell Witch's malevolent influence, and it marked a tragic turning point in the saga. The death of John Sr. did little to ease the torment that had plagued the Bell family for years. In fact, activities gradually lessened in intensity, and it began to make fewer appearances. In 1821, due to the witch's influence, Betsy decided to break her. Later, the entity informed the family that it would depart but return in 7 years, as promised. In 1828, the witch reappeared to Lucy and her sons, Richard and Joel, engaging in familiar activities from the past. However, this time, the family opted not to foster its presence, and the witch left once more. In 1934, Charles Bailey Bell, a neurologist in Nashville and the grandson of John Jr., authored a book titled The Bell Witch, A Mysterious Spirit. In this publication, he recounted narratives that he claimed were relayed to him by his great-aunt Betsy. Charles additionally chronicled a sequence of prophecies, asserting that these were conveyed to his forebears in 1828 by the spirit. Among these prophecies was a declaration that the witch was destined to make a return in 1935, marking 107 years since her previous visit to the Bell family. In 1937, there were accounts of peculiar occurrences. Lewis Garrison, who owned the farm encompassing the Bell Witch Cave, reported mysterious sounds emanating from within. Descendants of the Bell family recounted hearing noises resembling something brushing against the house, witnessing a paper-like object flying out of a door and re-entering through a side door, and even faintly hearing music emanating from a piano. The legacy of the Bell Witch extended beyond the boundaries of the Bell farm. The haunting had attracted significant attention during its heyday, and it continued to captivate the public's imagination long after the entity's departure. Over the years, various interpretations and explanations for the events at the Bell farm emerged. Some believe that the Bell Witch was indeed a malevolent spirit, while others suggested psychological or sociological explanations for the haunting. Skeptics argued that the entire affair had been a hoax or the result of natural phenomena, though such explanations failed to account for the extensive testimonies of witnesses. Ben Radford highlights the significance of the Bell Witch story for paranormal researchers, emphasizing how it demonstrates the ease with which legend and myth can be confused with factual events, underscoring the blurred lines that result when sources are not adequately scrutinized. Brian Dunning takes a pragmatic stance, suggesting that discussing the alleged paranormal activity should only occur if there is credible evidence supporting the story's veracity. As no reliable documentation of actual events is available, Dunning dismisses the Bell Witch legend as an unsubstantiated folk tale that has been greatly embellished and popularized by a writer of historical fiction. Joe Nickell, in contrast, raises doubts about Betsy's credibility and suggests that the Bell Witch story resembles a case of the poltergeist faking syndrome, where someone, often a child, fabricates mischief. He insinuates that many who knew Betsy suspected her of deception. Amy Fluke Walker, a researcher focused on the Mississippi version of the legend, finds value in the Bell Witch narrative from a historical and sociological perspective. She stresses that the authenticity of hauntings matters little to her research, but rather the belief in them. According to her, this belief can shed light on the perspectives of 19th and 20th century Americans and their collective memory. Amid everything, the Bell Witch legend lived on through the generations, becoming a source of local pride and curiosity. And with that, we have come to the end of our video. Please don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and click that notification bell. This is Ben saying, see you next time.